True story, you know the haps. Let me break it down for the new boys, no cap. They respect the trap, nah fam, I'm free. And freedom ain't free until we all living free. Mindset fix, another day, another obstacle. Family feed lies, your dreams is what they robbing you. You gotta make it possible, gotta make it possible, gotta make it possible. Make the future possible. Greetings, my good people. How is everybody doing today? This is Rolo C of Rolo Runs the City podcast, and we are going to talk today about why retire. I guess the reason why I wanted to bring this topic up is because I think about today's society and, obviously societies and civilizations that have came before us really built their staple on work. Unfortunately, not all people are afforded the great aspects of longevity. However, at some way, shape, or form, they know what work is. Well, some of us anyway. But I basically wanted to talk about this topic today because you have many people who work for 30, 40 plus years, and some are just, ready to kind of wind down, get away from the daily grind, and pretty much enjoy the rest of their years work free. And then you have some folks that they basically do it until the day God calls them home. So it all depends on your character, what type of person you are in reference to how you view work. Many people, regardless of what's going on or what you're doing in life, many people gravitate toward what they enjoy. You don't necessarily have to be a professional athlete or some sort of a movie superstar or someone who's in the music industry to actually enjoy their time at work. Many people, they definitely enjoy what they do, and they don't have to be on pretty much in the public eye. So we're going to talk about retire today, why retire, and we're going to bring up some examples of people who retire and people who just don't want to retire yet. So we're going to start off with those who can't afford to retire. People who didn't plan for the future. 401k, IRA, stock investments, etc. You see a lot of these folks, unfortunately, they're working, and it's not by choice. You have some that do work by choice, but majority just wasn't prepared to retire. In fact, I don't think they had a long-term vision in mind, and it's very unfortunate. This is something that they don't teach in school, and they should. They should do more than just teach people how to count money. They should teach them how to manage their money, manage their wealth, manage their finances, think toward the future. In fact, public schools they're not teaching this, and they should. They should also conduct classes on critical thinking, and it's not so much critical thinking in reference to certain situations. What would you do in this situation? Say if you're taking social studies class, it should be critical thinking of what would you do in this situation that deals and involves with everyday life. Unfortunately, that's not given in our school systems, but that's why my podcast is here. So hopefully I can get some people to actually exercise their critical thinking and think about what they would like to do in reference to their day-to-day life, and pass some great information down to your kids as well. I truly believe that we can all grow together. But I'm telling you, it's just, we gotta just name a couple of people who are working right now, who necessarily, shouldn't be working, but unfortunately, because they didn't plan for the future, they're stuck in the predicament. You got plenty of grocery store greeters. You see cashiers. Unfortunately, not many of these people that's in this category are set financially, but still working. So there's a few things that have to get done correctly. I mean, you have to save, you have to invest. If you're still working a 9 to 5 because boredom sets in, that's one thing. But if you're still working the 9 to 5 and you're up toward retirement age, and because you haven't planned for your future, that can be a detriment on your mind. It could be a detriment on your body, and there's so much interconnectivity between the two. You don't want to be in a situation where you feel in a situation of hopelessness. And that's what happens with a lot of people. They wonder, they say, man, I just want to take a break. I just want to take a day off, or I can't afford to take a day off. But the problem is, many of those folks that run into those situations actually took too much time off. Whether it be, calling off or blowing their money, in their younger days, not taking into consideration that, people have this YOLO mentality. You only live once. Life is too short. All these cliche sayings. But in reality, life is extremely long. And life is it's so long if you're not doing the right thing. If you're not doing the right thing, you will live a long and miserable life. So you definitely want to make sure that you plan ahead. I mean, you really have to. You have to take extra measures in life to make sure that you plan ahead, so that way you don't reach these predicaments. But like I said, there's some folks that, they work and they are financially well off, and they get tired of, I guess, the retirement life. Believe it or not, there's very few people that sit back, they relax, golf, take vacations, spend time with their kids and their grandkids, and they suffer from a thing we call retirement fatigue. They go back to work, and it's not because they have to, but it's because they want to. They're workhorses by nature, man. I mean, they have discipline since day one. They have the victorious mentality. They're victorious in life. They're not living with the victim's mentality that are subjecting themselves to being victims of circumstance. So let's not say that all of our regular Joes out there are actually not well off, and they just excuse me, they're just in a situation where they have to work. And a lot of these folks, they really don't mind working. They really want to work. They want to go ahead and they want to put foot to bud and make it happen. And you can really actually appreciate one's work ethic when they take that approach. And I definitely do commend that. I'm all about work. I greatly appreciate it. It gives a sense of purpose. It gives you a great outlook on life. But the whole thing is to work and provide and give yourself a sense of ownership on the type of person and character that you are trying to actually own in on. Like for me, I think work ethic is everything. Now, I'm not saying live to work, but you want to work so that way you could live. But at the same token, if you're going to be there and you're going to be putting in the time, do something you love and definitely go all in. Now, let's talk about some examples of people that are financially well off and refuse to retire, and their reasons on why they refuse to quit. Okay, I'm actually going to bring up, so I'm going to use some sports references now. I mean, they're very good examples. It turns out, statistically speaking, that a person who retires from, let's say, for example, the National Football League, from the NFL. A football player who retires out of the league within 3 to 5 years, they're claiming bankruptcy and they're going for broke. And a lot of that has to do with the fact of bad money management, the lavish lifestyle. And at some point, many of those guys, when football was their only outlet, unfortunately, they're the ones that never realized they should scale back on their lifestyle, and they end up getting subjected to a life of mediocrity and pretty much can turn into hopelessness when they don't have the proper guidance in reference to their finances. But you got some guys that are well off. They did the right thing while they were playing. They made the proper investments. They have the right money managers, wealth management around them to ensure that their money can not only outlast their life, but also change the trajectory of their kids and their grandkids' lives. So it's a beautiful thing when that comes together. But let's talk about a great example here. We're going to talk about this man, and we're going to talk about his reason for still playing. Well, he doesn't play anymore, but he actually played for a long time. And financially well off, but enjoyed his work. Got Brett Favre. Brett Favre is a Hall of Fame quarterback, famously known for playing for 20 years, and he's played majority of his career with the Green Bay Packers. His strong reason for playing for so long was he wanted to ride until the wheels fell off, and didn't want to live with regret for leaving the game prematurely. And you can actually respect that. It wasn't just because he couldn't let it go, but he wanted to ensure that when he was no longer playing in the league, it was because he possibly he didn't have the ability anymore to play. Say, okay, like, I'm done. Like, he left it all on the field. And you can greatly appreciate that. And there's plenty of examples of that in the regular world, where you got folks that want to leave it all out there. Recently we just had Ruth Bader Ginsburg pass away, and she was serving in the Supreme Court, and she was about 20 years plus after retirement and was still working. And it just goes to show you the dedication that people have toward their work, and also shows you that they want to ride it till the wheels fall off. And you can respect that regardless of what you think about somebody or what their views are, politically, whatever it may be. One thing you can respect about these folks is their dedication to their work. Okay? All right, we'll bring up another example. We're going to talk about the future Hall of Fame quarterback, Tom Brady. He played 20 years with New England, and obviously he's still playing at the age of 43. And strong reason why he's been playing for so long is because he set a goal to play till he was 45, and he wants to prove to himself that his training that he uses with his TB12 method will work for longevity, which is a great selling point for after he retires from the game of football, that he can pretty much say, hey, I played to the age of 45, and you can too. Here goes the TB12 method. You know what I mean? So, and by no way, shape, or form is this an advertisement. This is just his stuff, and this is one of his proving points on why he's trying to actually ensure that he can play till he's 45. It's a great selling point. Selling his brand for longevity, and you can actually respect that. So, unfortunately, for me, I'm a big Patriots fan, and I was just really distraught and sad when the guy left, but I totally understand people do have to move on, and you have to go with what's best for you in reference to your career, your livelihood, your direction. Family plays a part, so you got to respect that. But anyway, I definitely want to bring up my last. Definitely want to bring it. I'm sorry, I don't me and the pause here. It's kind of got me a little bit, but I'm bringing up my last example here is Kobe Bryant. He passed January 26th of this past year, so yeah, I don't. Oh man, that messed me up. Yeah, I was like many other grown men, just shedding tears for this gentleman because obviously what he meant to the game, and not only just what he meant to the game, what he was doing after the game, and great family man, dedicating his life to his daughters and his wife, and I can resonate well with that and relate pretty much with what he was trying to do. But he was famously known for playing with the Lakers for 20 years. Got into the Hall of Fame this year. Didn't require a vote for obvious reasons. Obviously, he was going to be unanimously first ballot, but due to the tragedy, they let him right on in, and it was the right thing to do. But the reason why he retired is because he gave so much to the game, and he couldn't give anymore. His heart was in it, but his body just took his body took so much of a toll in an illustrious career. He knew it was time to walk away. He put out a great, which actually he ended up receiving an Oscar for, a great animated short about his basketball career, from when he fell in love with basketball to the day he decided to drop the mic and Mamba out and call it a career. It was a great piece that they put together. If you guys have not seen Dear Basketball by Kobe Bryant, feel free to YouTube it. It's all over YouTube. He revered work so much and had great dedication. And he knew that his body couldn't handle it anymore. So he decided to walk away from the game. And most people on that stratosphere of stardom seldomly do that. And he did. But it goes to show you how comfortable that he was to do so. He had the love for the game, but he physically knew that he couldn't handle what the game was bringing anymore. And he's one of those guys too. I guess, he writes the wheels fell off, and the wheels fell off. And he left it all out there. And you can greatly appreciate the work that he put in, during his 20-year career. And I think that's the problem that we have as a society right now. We're at a point where people are getting rewarded now just for showing up to do a job. And it's quite sad. Before, you show up to a job, you perform the job. If you perform the job well, you do get rewarded. Now they want to reward people for just showing up, because people don't even want to work anymore. They don't even want to show up to work. And then when you have people that do show up to work, and it's so funny, they don't expect to work. And it's like, okay, I'm here, hand me my check. Like, no, buddy, there's a job that has to get done. Let's make sure we do it. So it's amazing how today's society, we're in the, participation trophy society, and hey, thanks for showing up. We're glad you're here. Here goes your reward. Here goes your prize. It just, it kills me, man, because our society wasn't like that. Our society was very hard-nosed. You show up to work, you do what you got to do. If you do go above and beyond, when you go above and beyond, you will get rewarded accordingly. It's one of the things I miss about being in the military, is racking up awards, promotion, things like that. It's very good for not only morale for yourself, but it also brings a good camaraderie with the unit. Everybody kind of celebrates your success. That's what tight-knit units do. Everybody's always celebrating one another, and that's definitely a beautiful thing that we're missing in today's society. There's too much of a selfish, not selfless, but selfish factor in today's society where we're not celebrating each other enough, and we absolutely need to. But I firmly believe when you give so much to your career, it affects those who you love and those that love you. A lot of time there's time that is sacrificed, that gets taken away from family whenever you're really trying to dedicate yourself to your process of becoming successful in your career field. There's a lot of family support that's there, and they support you, but unfortunately they may be supporting you, but you may not be there to support them because you're so all in on your work. And I think that was one of the sad things about the tragedy that happened with Kobe Bryant, was that he gave so much to the game. And the gentleman had only been retired for 4 years and was doing a lot. I mean, was starting investment firms, and he was definitely getting that in that arena. He was dominating. He had his body armor, I believe it was a body armor energy drink, recovery, and he was well on his way on that arena as well. No different than when he stepped on the court, but he got to spend more time with his family, spend more time with his daughter. Rest in peace to Gianna. She was becoming that next great Bryant, who was going to be in the WNBA, was going to possibly be the best player to ever play in the WNBA under the great tutelage of her dad. And it's disheartening that you give so much to your work and you don't realize those that you love support you, but you're not there. So you do have to create a great balance of life-work balance. Like I said in my past episodes, tomorrow's not promised. So we want to make sure that we do the best that we can to let those know who we love and that love us, that we do care. We do appreciate the support. And sometimes when it's time to retire, it's time to retire. And if you're not going to retire, at least have your family get involved with what you do. Like, I totally love whenever I'm in my creative space in my office and I have my wife next to me and she's doing her work, and then my daughter, she's doing her thing, and we're all in the same space. And my son will be on his laptop and he'll be doing some educational games on his laptop, and even though we're all engaged in our own activity, we're still together. We're still being creative together. My daughter's doing her thing, my son's enjoying himself doing his thing, my wife is doing her thing, and then I'm here doing mine. So my recommendation is, if you get to a point where everyone can be involved and you don't want to retire, get your family involved. Make it a family affair. Family time is so important, and I truly believe that's one great aspect that we can all work on, is just having that togetherness. If you're in that situation where you are away from your family, do the best that you can to try to get closer, because remember, your family is your greatest support. So I just look at the situation like it's no different than a soldier being deployed in a foreign land to fight for our democracy. His or her family is at war too. All they can do is wish and hope he or she returns safe. So we always should take that into consideration whenever we are at work. When you're grinding it out, your family is too. they're behind you 100%. They support you 100%. So it's good to try to find a way to incorporate everybody into what you're doing or what your wife's doing or what your kids are doing, to create that family aspect of we're not missing time, even though we're all doing our own thing, but we're all together. We're all in the same space. We're all enjoying each other's company. And we're all getting this work. And I think it's awesome to take that approach. Well, anywho, I would like to greatly thank you guys for sticking with me, for supporting the podcast. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email me at rolorunsthecity@gmail.com. Feel free to comment on my YouTube. If you want to subscribe, just feel free to do so. And don't forget, this thing is called Rolo Runs the City because I do run the city. My next run is going to be the Peachtree Road Race. Unfortunately, it's going to be virtual because of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, I'm still going to smash that 10K because that is what I do. I run the city, so do not forget that. This is Rolo. I'm very grateful for your time. Thank you very much. You guys have a blessed day, and we'll chat it up next week. Peace.